Okay. So really appreciate the parent panel. I know it's really tough to follow that act, but I'm more than confident that our next speaker is going to have no problem following that up. So it is my pleasure to introduce to everybody Avi Silver, who will be performing a spoken word piece that he wrote specifically for this event. Avi Silver is a spoken word poet and improviser and is currently furthering his career in social work and the field of psychology. He is also very passionate about music and mental health, and he has successfully aided in producing 5 virtual music festivals, all during the pandemic, some of which can be found online at don'tblockyourblessings.org. Through his piece that he's sharing with us today, Avi is aiming to honor the hard work and dedication of all of you, the Family Strengthening Network home visitors and home visiting agency staff. So please join me in welcoming Avi Silver as he performs Life Support.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Martha, for that introduction. I hope not to go over. It's a longer poem than I expected, but it's within the time range. First off, I'd like to um, kind of explain what a spoken word poem is. People know about poetry, but it's not that mainstream. It is getting more mainstream. I think last year's winner of America's Got Talent was a spoken word poet, but what it is it's performance poetry. So you're not going to hear, rhyme, line, rhyme necessarily. It's going to be more open. It could be a spoken word poet, can be anything. It doesn't have to rhyme. It doesn't really have to make sense as long as you can feel something from it. That's really what a spoken word poem is. So as Martha said, that this poem was written for this. I um, currently am doing social work as well, so I do have some, legitimacy here. I like to think I know a little bit of what I'm talking about from personal experience, but with connecting, I think Steve was saying before, ripples. Everything that social workers do is ripples. That's really true. And yeah, without further ado, this is the poem called Life Support. I have always wanted to be remembered, not by what I have done, but by who I am. I don't remember my childhood as one where I had 9 eye surgeries all before I was 18. I remember it as me, the child that persevered and who got through all of those surgeries. And I remember it as me who was still, at the end of all of that, thankful for everything that I did have. But I was a child. I didn't have the capacity to cope, the utility to understand, the avenues to ask advice, or the experience to extrapolate what was really happening. What I did have was my support system, my family. My mother is and will always be my most fierce warrior, always equipped with her sharp and pointed demands from medical professionals and a quiver of questions that she would fire with dead accuracy. She fought for me. She fought for my vision. She fought for my life. My father, forever the scholar, was always researching or reading, up until the day he went blind. He shared his similar life experiences with me that eased my suffering and discomfort. He shared the lightness in which he took all of his hardships and struggles, and how he always seemed to share this burden with a higher power. My brother and sister were always there to hold my hand, or my head, or my heart when I needed them. Family is everything to me. It is something I took for granted for a lot of my life. And do you want to know a secret? Family is yours to choose. I myself am a social worker, a case manager, an advocate. I am lucky enough to be the mouthpiece for those I am caring for. This poem is for all of you watching this Zoom, but this poem is also for all of my nonverbal clients who cannot speak up, but wow, do they want to. This poem is for the memory care unit I visit, where there are endless stories of lives lived, veterans who fought in wars and were forgotten, stories from Mexico, from the Philippines, from El Salvador, alongside stories from Long Beach, from Inglewood, from Orange County, and from right here in LA. My family had no certification or training or degree in any related field, but yet they supported me when I needed it. They were there for me when I didn't know what to do, when I had nowhere to turn, and when I had no one to talk to. They were only able to do that because they cared so deeply for me. And that is our job as social workers, to care deeply enough for those we are caring for that we are willing to view them as an extension of our own family. Now, look at all of you who do have certification or training or a degree, but who also care so deeply for the people you interface with. Imagine the lives you change every day, every month, every year. Imagine the monumental shift that happens in a mother's belly when she knows she has someone on her side who will fight for her, who will be there for her, who will be able to answer her questions. Imagine the baby inside of that mother, the chemicals being released through the umbilical cord. Imagine how deeply she will sigh when she feels the warmth of the world once again, when you simply say, "You're not alone," or "I'm here to help." Imagine the baby inside of her growing and receiving warmth through its mother. Imagine that baby walking for the first time. Imagine that kid scraping their knee for the first time, learning to drive for the first time, falling in love for the first time. Imagine that fully grown adult still feeling its mother's warmth, which was ignited by you just caring enough to do something about it. The purpose of this poem is to celebrate the probably overworked, the definitely necessary, the incredibly patient and ever so compassionate social workers of LA Best Babies Network. Everyone here will be remembered not by what you do, but by who you are. Now, I do not know any of you personally, but I feel as if I know your hearts. I know you because I know me, and I know social workers have this innate desire to help others the less fortunate, to ease the pain, to make the world feel safe again, to make life better. And there were times throughout my childhood when I was completely and utterly blind. I could not see what was right in front of me. The mothers, the children, families that you all help don't always see the resources they have available right in front of them. They do not know that there are organizations and government grants and aid that is available and just waiting for them. I was given my vision back by Dr. Thomas Chu, who told me as a 14-year-old boy that his hands were guided by a higher power. He admitted to me that he is a good surgeon, but he alone was not good enough to perform the medical miracle that restored my vision. And I believe the hands and hearts of those of us who care this deeply and who do this work day in and day out are guided by a higher power as well. You all perform magic on a daily basis. And do not take that for granted, because I know that those you work with absolutely do not take you for granted. Social work, at first glance, is just a job. It requires paperwork, navigating bureaucracy, and learning to work with minimal resources. But few really know what it's like to speak for those less privileged, willing to feed their families, for children who are helpless on their own, who can so easily be shaped by whatever they see in front of them. And that isn't the degree you have on your wall or the badge you carry into the hospital. It is what you bring to this very important work that we all do. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the poem. It's really an honor to be here. I've enjoyed what I've been here for.
Thank you so much, Avi. That was beautiful. I'm going to share some of the comments that we received in the chat box. So we got to thank you for the beautiful poem, Fight On, Social Workers Rule, Imagine the Lives You Change, which was part of your poem. Words of Knowledge, thank you. Another thank you. Thank you for celebrating. Amazing. Thank you. Wonderful poem, beautiful. Amen. We are magic. So thank you so much for sharing your spoken poem with us and celebrating all our home visitors and the work that we do. I'm going to pass it back to Charlotte. Oh, wait, we have some more comments. Hold on here. I'm going to share a couple more. Beautiful work, amazing, touching, bravo, so touching. Wow, this is awesome. Thank you so much, Avi. Now I'm going to pass it over to Charlene for our closing messages.
Thanks, Kayla, and thank you so much again, Avi, for being here and for speaking your truth in the way that you did. I think it was beautiful, it was inspiring, and you're right. This network, our Changemakers, are magic.